Happy to
Amazing.
do it.
Just ask. Oh my gosh.
I will change.
Oh,
I can change your life, and I can change your family's life. Like I'm that
oh
confident
my
because
god.
I've done it for myself, and I'm just
Ah,
started. Like it's crazy.
and he's just getting
Just
started.
getting started, and it takes time. But like
It.
you'd be amazed how far you can get in a short period of time.
Okay. Now I have a question for you. We're gonna shift. We're gonna shift a little
All
bit.
right, let's shift gears.
So, um, there's a lot of talk about the real estate industry.
Okay. Yeah.
A lot of things are happening, and everyone's kind of speculating as to um, what's going to happen based on what has been happening and that whole thing.
Yeah.
And I was just in conversation, kind of thinking about how the real estate industry looks um, as a whole with respect to its place in economics and impacting other markets and that sort of thing.
Right.
And I was reading something that Robert Kiyosaki had said about you make your money on property when you buy, and that's a different mindset than most people have, and they
Okay.
think they make more when they sell.
Right.
I was like, okay, I get both perspectives. I get what Robert's saying, that you're buying it at a better price than probably what's market value or that sort of thing. So it kind of guarantees some kind of profit down the
Profitability.
road,
Right.
profitability. But I was wondering, I want to throw in that great quote that you showed me about great minds think about ideas.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
was
Average
it
minds talk about people. Great minds talk about ideas.
right?
Oh no,
And
no.
then
Like small minds talk about people.
that's average minds talk
Average
about
minds talk
events,
about events, and then
and great
great
minds
minds
talk
talk
about
about
ideas.
ideas. Yeah. Right.
So the idea was, I wrote it down, the real estate market as a pyramid structure.
Okay.
Again, with respect to economics, what that actually looks like, and I know you can speak to that. That's the overall idea, and the event would be the impending crash, which most people think is about to happen pretty soon, or you can reach back and past any subsequent crashes that have happened as a result of whatever. And then the people, the consumer is sort of the people that are impacted, the individuals, families, homeowners that are impacted by this whole thing would be, again, the people. So I'm wondering if you can kind of shed some light and give some structure. Is there a structure to the real estate market?
How do you mean when with respect to a pyramid though? Like
Um, with another industry example would be like coffee. You have coffee shops kind of at the top of that pyramid, and below that would be your marketplaces where you can buy sort of that branded coffee, or
okay,
you have the smaller coffee houses that are kind of in there in the middle,
right.
and then at the very bottom you have the coffee you buy at home that you're making.
Mhm.
It's not anything special, but it's convenient. It's at home. You don't have to worry. Versus at the top, you're going out and you're paying, $4 for a coffee,
Right.
for a cup of coffee, and you're like, is it worth it? It's like, yeah, well, or even, I can't remember the beans, but I call it the cat poop coffee because it has to go through the intestinal tract of a,
Oh yeah.
a
Right.
cat, and
Specialty.
to
Yeah.
buy a pound of those beans, it's about $300. It's but I've tasted it, and
How
it
was it?
tastes, it was okay. Like, I'm not
I can't
spending
get
that much.
over how that became an idea. Like,
Someone's like, hey,
and
you know
then
what?
someone just decided to say this is gourmet. Like,
I just saw this cat just shit out these beans. Let's
yeah,
roast that up and give it a taste.
it's a story though.
That's exactly. I mean, I'm not. I'm just kind of simplifying it, but
Yeah.
it's insane. So,
Okay,
with,
so if real
yeah,
estate were a pyramid or a triangle, what other different
how
economies
would it be
affected
divided?
by it?
Like, what would the
How would it break
structure look
down? How
like?
does that impact society
Yeah.
in general? Well, so my commentary on that would any person in sales would say that nothing happens until a sale is made. And the
Hmm.
reality of real estate is there's so many industries tied to it. Like if it's your biggest ticket item, everything else is tied to it, from vehicles to home furnishings to renovations to food, linens, textiles. You know, you have to outfit your home, and the people that live in it make use of it. And there's so many forms and facets that run off of real estate. And I think in Canada, for the longest time, it's the one thing that remains strong because of low inventory, and that's always going to be kind of the topic that I think that media and the government will always skirt because they don't want to do anything about it. Frankly, I don't think they have an interest in doing it because it garners them some control over the markets. And then they use
Wow.
the mortgage rules to manipulate um, speed and timing and execution and values. They
Wow.
just further bottleneck um, this need, this pent up demand. So you couple those things up tighter rules, low inventory. My cousin put his condo for sale in downtown Chicago. Okay, it's a one bedroom, one bath, 900 square foot condo in downtown Chicago. Guess how much it's listed for?
Too much.
I mean, it's a major metropolis. You know, Chicago's probably the third or fourth largest city in the United
Chicago.
States.
Okay.
Okay, 300,000. Like Hamilton, you can't get that for three. In
Are
Hamilton,
you
you talk to Americans, they're
serious?
like, "Where's Hamilton?" I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's a deal if you get it for like 450.
Oh my
You know,
God.
so our Canadian real estate, we don't realize it because we're here. So that's our reality. So what you see in front of you is just like every day, whatever you tell me, that's what it is. That I accept it for that. But when
Right.
you
Yeah. Yeah.
compare
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
to other economies of scale, and like Chicago's obviously older, well renowned, financially has a reputation,
Yeah. It's
you
old
know, like
city.
an international destination, and you're like, Hamilton real estate, you know, condo, you could spend more than if you did in Chicago.
Wow.
And there's parts of
Wow.
Toronto that you'll spend more than Manhattan, right? So
Yeah.
if we're talking economy and the importance in our country, and because Canada is so vast and the population, most of it is south or close to the border. I mean, uh, it is a city by city scenario, but real estate is dominated by Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal. Very few places after that, right? Like Calgary
Okay.
always gets mentioned, and then within Ontario, it's always like the Mississauga, the surrounding GTA, Markham, um, uh, Oakville, Burlington, Hamilton, kind of thing,
Okay.
and they all have their own dynamic and different nuances.
But so just the apex of that, or the three major cities that you mentioned for Canada's sake, they kind of dictate how everyone else is going to,
Well, they're
I
the
guess,
ones
fall in
that
line
get
and
the
prices.
attention, but it doesn't mean those economies, those averages, those situations are the same as small city Canada, Ontario, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Calgary, excuse me, Alberta, BC. They always get the frontline headlines. And the
Right.
reality is, like, you know, what happened in Vancouver and Toronto with respect to international buyers, condo market, stuff like that. It's not indicative of what happens in like uh, Kitchener, Ontario, Guelph, Ontario. Like it's just totally different dynamic. But when you
Okay.
watch the news, and then Canadians who are not active in the market, if you say like, "Wow, Toronto's on fire," prices are like over a mil one average, 1.1 average. Um, Inventory is less than 6 weeks, and everything's on fire, and you're seeing bidding wars where they sell at 100 to 200,000 over asking. That doesn't mean every city in the rest of the country is like that. But
Right.
to someone not active and doesn't know any better, they think all of Canada is overpriced because of a Vancouver and a Toronto. And then people
Right.
like around Toronto think like, oh, everyone from Toronto wants to buy in Ancaster and Waterdown and downtown Hamilton and it's Grimsby, and you're like,
It's
not
like,
really. You
no.
don't want to drive that far, so relax. And just because one person from Toronto bought there doesn't mean all of Toronto is there now. So
Right.
it gets overstated because our country is so heavily populated in few sections. So once you hear one stat, everybody accepts it for like, and we need to stop
Yeah,
doing
that's
that
it.
because yeah, real estate is very much like local. There's
Right.
economies within that. Like there's nuances within that. So, but it's
Wow.
truly important because frankly, there was a time where I just thought, and this could be ego, but like if real estate stops, like what else was going good in Canada as far as like constant sales? And people
Right.
argue that's it's unhealthy, and that's what prompted the stress test about 2 years ago. So for mortgage purposes, if the rate was 3%, you had to qualify at 5%. Sounds kind of pie in the sky scenario ish because what the government was preparing buyers, new buyers for, and anyone really with a mortgage is that if the rates went up within the next couple of years, that someone getting into that mortgage could handle it even if the rates went up another 2% over that 5 year term. And look what
Which
happened.
is likely.
Well, we thought that 2 years ago. Now they're at an all-time low. They're lower than
Oh,
the
right.
because of Corona and COVID
Yeah,
and
yeah,
everything
yeah,
else,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
global economies, and like the trade wars between U.S. and China and so on. Right? Can you pin it to that? Maybe I'm guilty now of generalizing, but um, it's so important. And sometimes I think the government gets too involved in the regulations when they should be stepping in and doing something about affordable housing and inventory. So they
Ah,
pacify the population, and they're like, we'll do these little tweaks here and there that affect lending power. Or if they relax a rule, they hardly give more spending power to the buyer. It's just they throw a bone here and there around election time, and then you think like, oh, it's news, buzzwords, the key phrases. So
right.
the people, the biggest demographic of voter in Canada, I believe, is like that baby boomer, um, well established, semi retired. Like they try to hit them with just a little inkling of news, and they're like, oh, everything's good. Don't like, but yet it's the young people that suffer.
Ah, I see.
They substitute and they throw a bone, but they're not really doing anything to improve it. And they always avoid the inventory and they always tinker with the mortgage rules.
Wow. So why do you think there is this lax or no urgency surrounding inventory? Like why?
Yeah, I
Because
think
that
it's
to me sounds
elitism.
like
But I'm
it's
cracking down on it
okay.
now. I'm think they're just trying to crystallize and secure wealth. They want more renters. They want fewer owners. They want whoever has secured the most real estate now. It's a monopoly. It's like if you own that apartment, you're gonna have it forever now, and you're going to have a constant flow of the young people coming in, and we don't want ownership, and we don't want because I don't know, everybody owning can't be a good thing, right? Everybody having a share of the pie, having wealth through
Interesting.
equity in real estate, you know what I mean?
Right.
The
Right.
shift has gone from like that dream of home ownership is dying, and the reality is Canada's a new country, so we had time to for people to get in. But if you look at South America, you look at Europe, you look at Asia, they're predominantly rental societies, like probably 70, 80%, because of the way that mortgage rules are. Like Japan has 100-year mortgages. So just to make it affordable, like they make
What?
Mortgages, 100-year terms. And then the other thing is, there's parts of the world that you got to pay cash. There's no financing to buy a home. You have to pay in
Wow.
paid in full. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Parts of
That's,
like metropolitan London. Like here, you can buy a, I don't know, 20-unit building for $7 million. There, you can buy one condo for $7 million. So that's
that's
the thing,
insane.
right? It's age, it's generations, it's wealth, it's secured. And I just think the way things are going now, real estate is important. It's becoming rare and harder. What That's just going to increase the value, ironically, because
Uh,
it feels like whoever's in charge of this thing just wants whoever that owns what they own now to just crystallize it and stay in their hands forever. They're just making it so hard for people to get into the market. Hence why they do
wow.
nothing to make it more affordable or increase the inventory. Because there's been none of that. At least in my career, I haven't seen like a sincere effort to do that.
Wow, that's actually pretty scary.
And that's it.
Wow. So, what is your thoughts on an upcoming crash?
I think at every stage, no matter what's going on, people are always waiting for a crash to happen to buy. And that's just our instinct to buy for less. So what you say about Robert Kiyosaki is you make they say this often in real estate, you make the money on the purchase. So you
Mm-hmm.
want a deal. Everybody wants a deal going in because going up, value going up is not guaranteed. In history, it has been. You might see lulls here and there, but generally your trajectory is like a nice steady increase. And probably from like 2012 to 2015, pretty much every house, every property in Ontario doubled within like
Right,
3.5 to 4 years. Will we see that
right, right.
again? No, we'll see incremental
No,
increase. I mean, no one would have guessed in that time frame that prices would go up like that
right.
exponentially. And
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
just if you're a watcher of history and you're a practical thinker, you just you think it's going to take another 30, 40 years for your property to double because nothing economically does that.
Yeah, that a lot of strange, not strange, but a lot of things helped.
Factors.
The factors played a key role in upping those prices. It wasn't a straight like,
Yeah.
well,
It was a
we're all
phenomenon,
doing,
really.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, manufactured phenomenon basically.
And I don't and that might be part of the reason why there's no help up by the government, like sincere help, is that they don't want to see the average Joe buy a house and it doubles in like 4 years. And that guy, like, what did he do? He just had ownership rights to it. So
That's right.
I think that's what this, in part, that's what it's all about. But it's securing wealth and it's making sure the economy doesn't go crazy. But if you stop the real estate, because what's tied to real estate is banking, mortgages, investments, things like that. Like that's
It's
a
a huge,
whole industry within. And I
yeah,
wouldn't put it below. Housing is a catalyst, but I wouldn't say it's at the top necessarily. There's a lot of ones beside it that create stability and growth and exponential like potential to grow money. Like the banking industry around mortgages is insane.
yeah.
And it's not just what people think. There's a lot of points within real estate that there's a lot of myths that people believe. But one thing that gets overlooked, a big one, is mortgages. The banks don't just make money on lending you. It's not just the simple ABC calculation. You buy for
Right.
this much, I lend you this much, you pay me every month, I make money on the interest. What people overlook, and this is what got the United States in trouble, is these mortgages are packaged into giant, thousands of mortgages. And
Right.
then they're sold as a package to investors, management groups who sell them to the everyday investor, mutual fund, retirement fund guy because generally they're safe. If you got like 100,000 mortgages of um, grade A quality clients, it becomes a very attractive product. And then,
Yes.
so in order for the banks to free up more money and lend more, they package these mortgages and then they sell them off to like in brokerage houses. And then they sell it
Yes.
like as a mutual fund or some kind of investment vehicle. And then the money they get from that, they go and loan that again. It's a
The
fiat,
Big Short. Yeah, The Big Short
big
covered.
short concept.
This is yes, yes,
So
crazy.
it's a license to print money,
Which
basically.
is why I understand its place in the pyramid of economics. It's very high up because if that were to fall, there's a lot of dominoes falling with that.
Yes, both like in a healthy way and unhealthy way. If people
Yeah,
default that whole program, that we get the repeat of what happened in the States.
yeah,
But the reality is, they were giving loans to people that shouldn't have had them.
that shouldn't. But were they saying they were a like triple A, but when really they were
They
not?
were all yeah, yeah, definitely,
Yeah, there was all that
because the
stuff
rating
going on.
agencies were in on it.
Yeah, yeah,
They didn't go abide by anything in particular. They were they were paid to give the rating that they needed to give so that they could sell to the average investor that it was something that it wasn't.
right,
They
right.
advertised that it was more secure than what it wasn't. So that's why real estate sales cannot go to a screeching halt, because then also mortgages would become affected. Wall Street, the Toronto Index, like they would all be affected because it's all tied together.
Yeah,
And it really is like right there at the top of the foods, the scale. But I do think there's other industries that actually are, equal to it. I wouldn't necessarily put it at the top, but it's a catalyst to making the whole system run.
yeah. Wow, it's
So
so
that's your 360-degree like viewpoint of real estate. Is on a basic level, you buy a house, you got to put curtains, you got to put light fixtures, you got to get flooring, buy carpets, you got to buy a fridge and food, washer and dryer, clothes to wear. It just exacerbates like more and more sales, and that's why it has to keep going. And then when it comes to the lending industry, it doesn't end with just the loan. It becomes packaged loans and investments, and that leads to RSPs, TFSAs, mutual funds, stocks, everything. Like it's all bundled up. So
right.
that's why I say it's a catalyst to a lot of things.
That is incredible
So is there going to be
insight
a
on that.
crash? Like I said, people always wait for a crash, but the reality is like you always want to be buying as soon as possible and holding as long as possible, right? People that wait
Which
for a
is
crash end up
okay.
just paying more at a later date, in my opinion, because
Really?
you're waiting for
Oh, I
something that
see. So you're holding too long.
you're holding
Holding
out too
too
long
long.
and the prices are going up, like I say, incrementally, right? So how can you
Yeah.
time it only when it kind of dips? Like irrespective, even if it dipped, you're still paying more than if you had done it like 3 to 5 years before, right?
Right.
So it
Right.
depends
So
what
you're
the
waiting.
is.
Yeah. You're ultimately not even saving that much when you look at it that way. It's like you're
Right.
still
And
yeah.
my caveat is always this: if you're waiting to buy in a down market, probably a bunch of other factors are going to fall in that, like real estate is not going to be on the top of your mind at the crappiest point of an economy. You
Right.
might have lost your job anyway. Lending will be tighter. Something else will be more attractive. Renting will be better than at the time. So why wait for that? And the reality is, when people are in a bad situation, divorce, foreclosure, um, estate sale, arguably they actually need more equity out of the deal than someone who just wants to move because they want to move somewhere else. Like
Right.
upsize, downside. Like people in a desperate situation, these real estate courses in at least even in the late 90s, early 2000s, they would be like be a vulture. Look for a bad situation and take advantage of it. Well,
Yeah,
ask
yeah,
those
yeah,
people.
yeah.
Two people
Those are
separating. You think
those
they're
are the
gonna?
hotel room, convention center meetings, and they're like,
Yeah.
just follow, just look at the divorce things, and then you just
Look at the
post something. Yeah,
obituaries. Like you
yeah. Look at the old bits for new
go
customers.
bring donuts to the branch manager and ask him, hey, you got any any mortgages that are going upside down? I'm like, can I get their number? Like, you think they want to hear from Joe
Oh,
Schmo?
so
It's so
terrible.
obvious that you want to take advantage of
So
it.
terrible.
Yeah, and like I say, those people actually need the most money. Um, it's critical that they get the most. So just because you heard one story of a guy, oh, I heard they're divorcing, I lowballed them, and they took it because the wife didn't care to make a cent, so she sold it for 40% of what it was worth just to stick it to her husband. You think that happens? Like, people don't, bite their own, cut their face off. What do they say?
Cut the nose off to spite the
Despite
face.
your face. Yeah, like, you're dreaming.
Yeah, yeah,
You're
yeah, yeah, yeah,
delusional, and
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, and you're sick, and you shouldn't be like
Strong,
your motive.
strong words here.
But it's
Don't
true.
be.
Like, we need to
Yeah,
unlearn that. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if that starts with me or what, but I
Well,
have my
yeah,
own
it
issues.
does.
Yeah,
I think there's not a lot of opportunity for people to ask these types of questions and hear this kind of response without feeling as though, okay, are they just giving me a line here, or what? How much of this should I really be, taking with a grain of salt, or what have you? So, I
yeah.
think a lot of this conversation is incredible. I mean, I'm learning so much from it. And is there any advice? Say somebody is, in looking to buy houses, a place or property, what have you. What is sort of the easiest thing to wrap their head around to go, okay, I'm trying to get to point A or point B. Sorry, I just need to focus on this and cut through all this noise because there's a lot of, you know,
There's a lot of sources of information now,
yeah,
and everybody claims to be an expert in whatever they're doing. But that's what social is. Social media is. It amplifies the message, but it doesn't mean you. You got to look at the source. I look at magazine articles, like, friends share things, and the first thing I say is always as a goof is like, "Oh, look who wrote the article. Look where it came from. What do they want you to
question the
believe?
source.
What do they
Yeah,
have
you
to
got to question
gain?"
the source.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And what do I have to gain by giving the truth is making my clients happy. So I always
Uh,
tell them the truth, even if they think it hurts. The truth never hurts. You know, and the reality it's really simple. Is we all have. Just the last little while. I know I've changed because my education has changed in the last little while. I've been able to do more things and offer more to my clients because even my whole mindset has changed. And the reality is, it's such a taboo subject. Money is such a taboo subject. But the reality is, in your life, you have to be heavily money motivated. And people have a fear of talking about it because it exposes their finances. And, to get into real estate, which is arguably the safest um, investment vehicle and has the highest upside, the reality is it's hard work just to buy it because there's a shortage of money. It's getting hard to lend and it's getting hard to save up for a deposit, down payment. But that's the hard truth about it is, if you don't have enough, you've got to do whatever it takes to get enough to get into the game, and then you can enjoy the fruits of your labor and enjoy the appreciation of your home. And, like, that's why they say, like, people that own, like, their net worth is 3, 4, 5, 600% more than someone that doesn't own a property, kind of thing, right?
right,
So
right.
the hardest part, I always say to my clients and my friends and anybody asking it, for advice, the hardest one is the first one. and I can actually teach you how to turn one into many. And it's
Oh
the
wow.
probably the most best kept secret and best, but also the best feature of owning real estate is that you can grow exponentially what you own because of the power of financing and so on. You can't do
Relatively
that with
quickly
anything
too.
else. Pardon?
That's right. Relatively quickly too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the
Because
scale of which
there's so few
you can
assets
kind
that
of
you buy that go up while you're paying it. That they go up in value. You're paying
while
it
you're paying.
down
Right,
and
right.
it's going up in value at the
It's,
same time.
yeah,
If you got a good property, right?
right.
So because of the uncertainty around the stock market and businesses closing, like people are flocking to real estate even more, right?
Oh, so it's becoming
It's very competitive now
becoming
in all
yeah.
facets. And the government knows this and they keep closing doors. But like I said, like all you need to do really is, work hard, be money motivated, do what it takes to get your deposit down payment, get in the game, and then you can build from there, right? Because
Amazing.
you just have more leverage that way. And, once you've proven yourself, even the banks are willing to lend you more to acquire more because you can
Because
make them your
you got the
partner.
track record. You got the
And,
track record of what you're
right.
doing. That's gotcha.
And so I'll say this too, like, and I'll couple that up with, you know, commentary is always like, how do these people afford this house? Like, how are they going to buy $1 million house? How did this house become a 1.5 million, 2 million?
Mm.
And how is this whole neighborhood like up in value like that? Like these people didn't buy at that price point, and the people buying into that price point, the reality is that's the sticker price, but that's not what they're paying down. Okay, there is such a thing as what we call like the ladder, the property ladder, where you start small and then you grow and you purchase bigger and higher and more. So as you purchase your first home, you're paying it down all the time that you're living there, and it's going up in value all the time you're living there. And let's say you want to upgrade to something larger, you enter into a new sticker price, new price point, new market, but you don't have to pay that whole amount because you're going to sell the current home that you have, which has crystallized its value. And now you're going to actually realize that by selling that house, and then you put it into the next home.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So are you paying the sticker price on that next house, or are you paying the difference? Because if you had, let's say, 200,000 of equity on your first house, you put that all into this new $500,000 home, and what's your mortgage? It's 300. It's a difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is when people look at these $1 million homes, no one's buying them cash $1 million. Think for a moment that they may have moved 3 or 4 times to get to that
To get
point.
to that.
Okay? Does this making sense now? Is the light bulb like
Yeah.
going, right? So
Yeah.
that's what people is like they stop themselves from even starting, so they'll never realize that top rung of the ladder. And even if you don't want to get
Right.
there, your needs change, your life changes, but like you see how helpful it would be just to be on the first rung. It's a step into the next and so on and so forth. And this is how
Oh,
people continually move up the ladder over years and decades in their life, right? And then they finally get there. You know, hopefully that
right.
made sense.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. That's like again, there's not enough. I guess I'm not. I haven't been actively seeking this, but for the kinds of conversations that I've been hearing and having around the subject, there hasn't been this type of just
Insight. It's
yeah.
not
It's
common
just
knowledge. That's why,
this
right?
is incredible. This is
Right.
what
Like this
I
is,
think people need to hear. That.
yeah, it's 17 years of me studying, self studying, and it's 12 years in the industry. And
Wow.
I didn't learn it all overnight. And in
Yeah.
fact, some of my most recent stuff, which is like now actually helped me to exponentially grow, I've learned in the last year or put it into practice. I always knew about certain things, but strategy
Right.
you learn as you go. And like, that's the thing. It's like people, they only choose to know what they limit what they want to know about something
Yeah.
based on their interest.
Yeah.
And people sometimes they don't let themselves get involved in real estate and except for I just need to live in something. And that's it. So
Yeah.
yeah, your knowledge base is going to be limited to that. You'll know how to get a mortgage, you'll know how to find a house, you'll know how to put an offer, you know how to move in. That's it. And their experience and their knowledge will be limited to just that one experience. And then when you start talking to them about creating wealth through real estate, it's like, well, it's I don't want to do that whole thing all over again. But even if you can demonstrate how big the payoff would be, if your knowledge base is based only on that, which is not what it takes, then you're going to just easily talk yourself out of it.
Which most people are doing.
That's what they do. They don't even give themselves a chance. So this is where my education, helping myself, is helping other people because I can share that and I can teach it.
Now
But
you're
it's not
building
just
on it.
about the knowledge, it's about courage. And that's why I say it's like you can learn anything you need to know about something, but you won't execute it unless you take that risk, so to speak, that make that courageous call to action, right? So
Wow.
there's so little
Oh
downside.
man.
There's so little downside in real estate. I often equate it to this: like you got your deposit, you got your down payment, the minimum. You invest into the home, you start paying it down, and maybe it doesn't even go up in value. The worst case scenario, you sell that home and you get
Your money back.
you get your money back
Your
on the
investment. Yeah.
minimum amount that you needed, and that's one of the biggest factors of leverage in real estate too. Is uh, one will get you five. 20% will let you control 100% of the ownership. So in stocks, if I buy Coca Cola and I want $1 million of shares, I have to give you $1 million. If I want $1 million home, my deposit has to be somewhere around 250. Just think about that. You get control and
Wow.
ownership of 75% more than what you're putting in. So how can you screw that up?
Wow. Wow. I've never heard it like that. I've never heard
And
it.
that's why real estate has that potential um, to get to earn more and have a safety net because you're on the hook for the whole thing. But while you're paying it down and living in it, it should be going. It should be adding more value to you.
Right. It should be adding more value. It
Right.
has
And
to add more
you'll
value to
stop
things.
yourself from doing the wrong thing and getting involved in a bad deal. Like it's pretty evident to know what properties aren't going to make money.
Yeah.
Short of like, oh, this was Chernobyl and you didn't know it. Like, well, how often does that happen? You get what I'm saying though?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Oh, there was an oil spill here and you bought it and you didn't know. Well, how often does that happen?
Yeah. You're gonna know. In this day and age, you're gonna know what's happening in the neighborhood that you're interested in if you're talking to anybody before you make the purchase.
Yeah, so it's all instinct. It's what you learn about money. It's what your influences, your culture, that kind of thing. And you, in a sense, when it comes to having confidence in real estate, you have to unlearn that. And I've had to unlearn that. And that's what's helped me to grow. To change, you have to change.
It's
To
so
change, you have to
you
change
have to
something about
change.
yourself. For me to change and grow, whatever that means to me or you, I had to change something about myself. Is it my appearance? Is it my physical? No, it was what I knew and what
Yeah.
was fed to me and what I learned. And I had to learn the reality and I had to learn how to manipulate that and make it work for me. Right. And that's what I try to teach everybody through the podcast, no matter what it is, like, but real estate, obviously, in particular, because that's my field.
Oh my god.
So
Like,
hopefully that just, if one thing alleviated all your concerns and motivated you to get skin in the game, because once you get
kids,
in,
man.
yes,
Yes.
because
Yes.
yeah, I'll leave a hint. Okay. There are ways in real estate to take your initial investment and make them into multiple investments. only having to save one time. One time. You don't need to save for every single property that you buy. And I'll leave it at that.
Ooh.
You do not have to save it. Like, you want to buy 10 properties, you may not have to even save more than one time, is what I'm saying.
Wow.
Yeah. Can you imagine that?
Wow.
Who
That's
wouldn't like that?
incredible.
You know what I mean? That's why I say the first one is the hardest.
Listen, you listeners don't even know what they're getting right now. I don't
Oh,
think people quite understand the
yeah.
level of game that you're giving them right now. Like it's just
But so
people
here's
don't
the
get it right
reality,
now.
right? There's not a lot of resources that will share that. Okay. And in fact, like
Exactly.
I've only shed light on it. But the ones that do, and now that you know, here's the thing. I'm happy to share it. I've learned that like withholding information like that is not going to do anybody good. But I've been sharing this recently, and I'm calling the people that I share the information to action, and they're still not doing it. So this is why I say it's about courage. It's not just about the knowledge. It's the two combined. But it's like, it's up to the person. I can't. You have free will. I can't make you do it. I wish I had that influence. But even if I share the methodologies and the strategies and show how like the limited risk that there could be, there's always risk. But it's like, that's why I say it's what will move you is taking action, having the courage, and I think the desire to reap the benefits of owning a home, owning property, that kind of thing. So, I'm a big proponent of that. I have to be, um, no matter like the conditions, the market conditions. Like you have to have optimism about it because
Yeah,
it's a
it's a
long
long
term
game.
strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And they always say
Yeah.
this. It's a get rich for sure. It's not get rich quick. Get rich for sure. Don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait. Right? This is
Wow.
where all this that streams out of me comes from. It's unlearning all the stuff that we've learned
Wow.
about money and savings and how to grow it. Right? It's not like, I say to you, that penny saved is a penny earned. Save for a rainy day. Well, it's always raining somewhere. Those things will not get you ahead. You have to take action. You have to change. You have to make a commitment, and that's it.
Wow. My gosh. Like I can hear the subscribe button just being punched right now. People are just like, what? What did you
No,
just
I'm
say?
telling you,
Oh my god, that's
I
insane.
share this information regularly, and people still there's no action. So, and that's fine, right? Like I know not everybody's in this of the same interest of the same boat, but
But I think it's also people don't have the vision because what you're describing takes people to really comprehend it and understand. Okay, I got to look at this from 5 years out. I got to look at this 10 years out. I got to look at this from another perspective than where I am right now. Because from where most people are sitting, it's just this is what I've been told about real estate. This is what I got to do. This is the next step. And it's like, look at it from that end goal, like how you're explaining it. You
yeah,
got to look at it like,
right.
okay, if I'm going to if I'm going to leverage the way that I can't go about it the way that I've always been going about it.
You
Like
can't go
like you
about
said
it the
from the beginning.
way general information tells you to go about it. The
Exactly.
news, the media, like I said, like Canadian media outsources sources will use Vancouver and Toronto as the prevailing like market condition for the whole country. That's just as wrong as, like I said, like wait to time the market till the crash. I know people that have been doing that since began in real estate.
We're
I
still
know people
waiting.
that have been waiting to invest in real estate. They could have made like 300% by now. And I just accept it for what it is. I get questions all the time. I get the same questions. I get there's people that watch and they take comfort in just watching, but like the payoff is in the doing. And I don't know how to explain that, but it's changed my life immensely. Like, and I
Uh,
don't, share that because
Okay.
I don't come from a perspective that's not who I am. Like there's no flash to me, and I don't think sharing what you do, like what you have, is validation. It's just if I tell you and I'm confident and I do it myself and you follow my
That's
lead,
it.
you will reap the benefits. But if you choose not to, then I know that you're character already. Like, and I'm yeah, I know. We always say you can't judge, but like I have. That's what I do. So I'm gonna judge. Like, okay, you don't want to do it. That's fine. Will you find it
Okay.
somewhere else? Maybe, but like I just know, it's we're here for a while. We're here on this earth for a while, and I might as well do
Yeah.
something about it, right? Like, and some
And
people
there ain't no
look at it.
cavalry coming. We're gonna be here a while. No cavalry
Yeah, so
coming.
you might
So
as well try, give it a crack, right? Like,
you might as well try.
I don't know, and if not for you, leave something behind for your family, right? Like, because it's only getting harder, right? So,
Legacy.
yeah,
Got
yeah,
to think about that legacy.
I think so. You think about mortality all the time. You think about when
I
each
think about legacy
birthday.
all the time. Like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
my grandma just passed away. Actually, we were just
Oh,
talking
I'm
about her
sorry.
legacy, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Sorry, brother.
it's
How old is she?
95.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Was she
yeah,
back
and it was
home or
really
she?
cool. Yeah, she was in Jamaica, and so they screened
Okay.
the funeral service. So watching it with my family there, it was
Yeah.
just like, oh my god, just talking about legacy and stuff. So it was just really interesting to see on to think about like legacies throughout generational legacy. Oh my gosh! And as you said, it's just like at some point you got to think, okay, what I got to leave behind something. Like, yes, I'm here temporarily. I get that. What legacy am I leaving behind for friends and family?
Yeah.
It's your thoughts got to cross your mind. And with respect to real estate now, now I'm like thinking about it in those terms. Like, oh wow, how's
Yeah.
that going
At
to
some
work?
point, you marry the two thoughts together, right?
Yeah, and you start to wonder, okay, how's that going to look? How's that going to feel? Like,
Right.
what's up with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, but incredible insight. Like, I'm excited to further this talk. I know I can see like I'm soaking it in. I'm like, yeah, we're going to further this talk, and I know on the other channels, the other podcasts, you do a little more real estate, but I don't know if it's this raw, this real, this.
Yeah, I know this is the beauty of it, and that's the way I like to keep it because, frankly, when it comes to real estate marketing, I think most agents do the same thing, and that's poster listings, poster solds, that kind of thing. But I don't know how many people are that interested in listening because I see other agents do something like this. But this is strictly for like, you know, it's another medium of how to get it out there. And I feel like I have to fight and debunk a lot of information and bring it new. But for people like people are more accepting of hearing things. They'd rather hear a lie 5, 6, 7 times and buy that than hear something new that's right
It's
the first
comforting.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like I need to hear it
It's
10 times
scary. It's like,
before it
oh my god. It's
sinks in.
like,
Yeah, so real estate's interesting because
yeah,
it's a time and place. When you decide it's your time, then there's urgency and there's a thirst for knowledge. But for most people, I think after that's taken care of, they're really not that interested in it. I have
wow.
heavily,
That's a shame.
heavily money motivated people are pretty rare because um, you have to admit to it first, and I think there's a shame to that. Because everybody, it's like
Because
it's a
well, that's true because a lot of
you
people are
expose yourself.
taught not. There is a shame around money. Yeah, you can't. You're
Yeah,
not supposed to talk about money. So why would
right.
I be money motivated? There's shame attached to all that. So yeah,
Yeah.
totally get it.
So the more I learn about that, the more I become comfortable with that, the more I
Yes,
am able to share. And I don't mind talking about it because I just think the benefits of laying it all on the table to improve your situation. Because let's face it, money is universal and it's the scoreboard. There's the internal
It's
scorecard
the
that we
outer
talked
score.
about.
Yeah, yeah,
But the
yeah.
quality of
There's
your
the outer
life,
one.
yeah, the quality of your life is related to, your ability to earn and provide. And as a person, as a man, lady, whatever, whomever, it really is your duty to take care of yourself and your family, right? But people don't put it in that context. They're like, well, don't fuss about like what this person earns or what they do, but by skirting the issue or avoiding it, like it's really your kind of our own demise, right? We all know we can do things better, and it's the secret of like, because I wanted to bring this point up too, is like I've had material things that give short-term benefits, but I found the most satisfaction in my life is in the doing, and that's the work. And it's getting acceptance, being called to and hired in my line of job, my work. It's that confidence that I get from someone saying like, "Yes, Neil, I want you to help me. I want you to educate me. I want you to take my hand, give me the sound advice, and I'm going to go with." Nothing is more satisfying now to me, and I realize that, than that is getting someone's confidence, like domination. Because the material stuff you can accumulate, but it's such a short term like thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
now
That's
my
the mark of a
mandate,
good teacher.
yeah. So my mandate is,
Yeah.
okay. Let me instill that. Like you find someone a home, they're happy. You make them money for the rest of their life. Like they'll be
Oh,
grateful,
it's
and like it's like
a whole
you
nother level.
can't that relationship. Like those are my best relationships.
Yeah. Yeah. You're teaching somebody how to fish
Provide,
instead of just
yeah,
giving them the fish.
right, and
That's,
forever, like
yeah.
in a cycle for the rest of your life. Like it is funny that like as a concept, like they say, you know, you can help someone find a home, buy a car, outfit them. 3 years from now, they'll still have all that, but the money you got from it will be gone. So, like, what keeps you together? Like, what keeps that relationship going? So, I'm trying to provide more, um, step up my game a little bit by, yeah, it's there. If you want it, um, just ask. I'm happy
Amazing.
to do it.
Just ask. Oh my gosh.
I will change
Oh,
I can change your life and I can change your family's life. Like I'm that
oh
confident
my god.
because I've done it for myself and I'm just getting
Ah,
started. Like it's crazy.
and he's just getting
Just
started.
getting started and it takes time, but
You
like
hear that?
you'd be amazed how far you can get in a short period of time. I'm serious.
Wow.
But
Like I'm loving this. I'm loving this.
that's my call to
You don't have
action.
to. You don't have to take my word for it. I like
That's
it.
my call
Because
to
I feel
action.
like
Yeah.
that's it.
Like you look at
Okay.
people and you're like that guy's a fraud. But like, those that know me, they know like how I live. Like I have a lot of time with my family. I'm just very comfortable. So, and
That's
that
right. You're
what
enjoying
means
it.
most to me. Like I've reflect back on my son is 3 years old. I spent the last 2 years pretty much like with him every day, squeezing in work within that. Like,
Around that, yeah.
yeah, and that's the most valuable thing to me. And as opposed to like I made time for my son after work. It was almost like I did it the other way around. And that's so invaluable. Like the last 2 years I've been with him full time. Like where do
Oh
you get that? Right. And then but people will
wow.
be like, flash the car, flash the watch, show this trip. How about my son has been like, I don't know.
Yeah, you're raising them. You're there. You're present. You're
I
there.
was
You're showing
able
up
to
for
be
them
with him like,
every day. That's
yeah.
incredible.
So put a price on
That
that,
is
right?
incredible. Not exactly.
Is that what you want to do? Do you want the cars? Do you want the trips? Do you want freedom? This is what you do it for. It's freedom. So
You do it for the freedom.
yeah.
Ah, oh my god. Oh, I'm so glad I asked this question.
Yeah, we went down a rabbit hole, didn't we?
We did. It was beautiful, right? And this is like fantastic, fantastic, incredible.
So the problem with that now though is I will observe how you react now. What's Chris's next move?
Okay, okay. Well,
It's a challenge. Not one of
Going
the
down to
challenges
town.
that you can pose, not my 10-year picture, like, you know,
Oh yeah, no, yeah,
you know,
okay, I
those
see, I
online
see. Yeah,
challenge,
yeah,
like
yeah,
last
yeah, yeah.
night, like this.
Yeah, no, no, this is real world challenge.
Yeah, but again, you have to want it, and the help is it's completely there if that's what you need and you want. I'm there for you, right?
Incredible.
That's all that is.
Oh, fuck yeah, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. I
Oh,
feel like I got an insider. Like I
oh, you
feel
do.
like
Oh, there's no doubt.
all the way. Like I feel,
Yeah.
yeah. I this has
Like, and
been
don't you feel that much more confident when you have that partnership? You know what I mean?
absolutely, absolutely.
You're gonna
You
do it.
have
You're gonna execute it. Like,
knowledgeable.
you have someone, and this is in my life. I always starved to have someone as a mentor to do that for me, and it always happens like in something new all the time. I'm always like, and so I always wanted to get into teaching, but I realized like teaching on a school level wasn't for me. So I do consider what I do now, yes, teaching. So I never went away from that. It's just like I had to line it up with my interests.
Yeah, yes, yes. What works for you, what serves you, and this obviously is the platform that serves you to do the teaching.
And I think that's what's lacking in so many levels, especially in life, is like you want guidance, but it's not always there. Like, so you should take advantage of it when it's there for you, kind of thing, right? Like, how do you can learn how to ride a bike, drive a car, you know, but there's some things that you just wish, I think, like that you had a
Somebody
coach or
was
a
there.
mentor or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
Oh my gosh. Okay,
all right,
we will.
we'll be
We're
continued.
gonna. Yeah, yeah. See you show up in your other ones, the other podcasts. Ask more questions.
Well, yeah, I might as well just do the both, like take this segment
Just,
and put it in both.
just say
Yeah,
that.
that's the same.
Amazing. Oh, the brilliant, the beautiful, the business.
Business,
Detail.
your
The business.
business. I'm
The
making
business.
money.
The business. Amazing. Oh, thank you so much, man.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for asking. It would give me an opportunity to share that, right? And I think that energy's been inside me to share. So you bring it out of me too. So
We definitely will circle back to this, and
onward and upward. Yeah, just so you can accomplish so much and live out your dreams the way you want. And we're doing that with this show. And you guys listening and watching. I think
yes,
it's
thank
beautiful.
you
Like,
so much
it brings out the
for
best in both
listening.
of us.
These conversations are helping us, and I hope they're helping you. And if they are, please subscribe, please share, please tell people. Let us know what you think. Let us know.
Yes, but share. Most importantly, share it because
Yes.
if you're enjoying it,
If you know,
you feel like someone else.
exactly.
Yeah.
If you're enjoying it, if you know somebody else that has these questions too, please share and send us your questions. Yeah, it's nice to
Each one teach one. You'll never see a hearse. You'll never see a U-Haul in front of a hearse. Behind, you'll never see a U-Haul behind a hearse.
share.
Denzel.
We need a Denzel day
Yeah, I
again.
had to end it with a Denzel quote. So very good. Thank you guys very much for listening, for watching Podcast and Chill Show, the best podcast you'd never heard of.
Until right now.
Until now,
Podcast and chill. What more can you ask for?
what more can you ask for? Good night, everybody, and thank
Good
you.
night.
Love you. Okay.